Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Monday once again, and it's movie time. Yes, we're doing a double feature today. We don't usually do this. What ended up happening was that we watched Fear City last night on you guys' recommendation, and then after we were finished watching it, it was still kind of early, and then Tom was like, oh, let's see if they have Metal Storm.
I wanted to see Metal Storm.
So I'm looking on some of the things, and I didn't really see it.
Can't find it.
And then I look on Tubi, and I search for it in there, and they didn't have it either. But then it came up with all of these similar movies. Yeah. And then Spacehunter came up, and Tom's like, oh, I remember that movie. It had Molly Ringwald in it and all this other
Yeah, and that one was on my list. I mentioned it a few shows back. I wanted to see Spacehunter again.
Yeah, so we ended up watching that, too.
They played it on cable all the time, and I remembered liking it, but I also remembered it being like a real low-budget sci-fi movie. But seeing it now in HD, that was a good-looking movie. It was quite cool for its time. Done by the same dude that did Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it was produced by Ivan Reitman. Yeah. He didn't direct it, but
it looked low budget on CRT television, but it doesn't really look low budget.
Everything looks low budget on CRT.
Yeah, on CRT, everything looks low budget. Yeah, it doesn't look low budget at all, and it's kind of artistic. But we'll get to that one in a minute. We'll and it had good writing. Better than I expected. I remembered it being kind of like Star Crash. It was pretty bad, you know. But that's not no.
No, this was several levels above Star Crash.
Yeah. It's
I mean, Star Crash is still pretty entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but it's entertaining because it's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
But you know.
And then the other one, it was pretty good too. I liked it. Billy D. Williams was in it, fucking chewing up the scenery.
Yeah, he was great in this. I kind of wish he'd been in it a little bit more, but
yeah.
Because I was expecting him to be in it more, but he wasn't.
What's her name? Meg Ryan? What's that one's name?
No, Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith, yeah. Melanie Griffith's in it. She's nude a lot of times.
Yeah, she is so naked in this movie. Yeah. Holy cow.
I would have liked this back in the day just for the nudity. I was like, oh man.
There is
that shit's coming on. Yeah.
So much nudity.
Yeah. I would have liked it just for the nudity.
So much nudity.
It has some... what I did like about it is that it was about a serial killer that was killing all these strippers, and the strip clubs are run by the kind of like they're like stripper gangsters. They're club gangsters, and the cops are coming down on them, thinking that they know who's doing it. They think it's organized crime,
like
rivalry between the strip clubs.
Yeah,
and it's not what it was though. And the dude that plays like one of the leads, he's like one of the main gangsters. Even though he's not really much of a gangster, really, like he's afraid to kill people. You know, he doesn't want to go. He killed a guy in a boxing ring. You know, the guy playing him is the dude that played fucking Barnes in
Platoon.
In Platoon, yeah.
Tom Berenger.
Tom Berenger, yeah. He's a young Tom Berenger, and boy, he was physically impressive back in the day. Big. Narrow waist, big shoulders. Not real muscular by today's standards, but he was pretty cut on the front.
Well, they needed him to look like a former boxer.
Yeah, he for the era, I think he kind of did. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. So it's weird because, like, the good guy in this is kind of a fucking tough guy gangster. You know, he doesn't really like what's happened to these women. And he kind of gets over some, like, phobias about fucking people up behind it. But the killer... is a fucking is a kung fu dude. Or no, he's what do they call it? What's a good word?
Yeah.
He's a practitioner of Bullshido.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Bullshido practitioner. He's doing martial arts while he's fucking killing these women with.
That's like in the 80s. I guess that was like pretty cool. But it's like nowadays, I think if somebody came up to me, like even if it was a serial killer, I'm like, I'm sorry, I just can't take you seriously.
Yeah. They look like they were having a hard time taking him seriously when they were filming the movie.
They're like, I know you got a knife and everything, but come on now, knock it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it was a pretty cool flick.
Yeah, this came out in '84, if you didn't know, and it was directed by Abel Ferrara. And I actually really like Abel Ferrara. I've reviewed several of his other movies. I did Ms. 45, I did The Driller Killer, and I think we did, what was that one with fucking, shit, I just can't, never mind, I can't remember his fucking name right now. But we've done a couple of his movies anyway. And, so I'm surprised that I never saw this one. But maybe this wasn't on... Was this on cable a lot back in the day? I don't really remember ever
I think
seeing
it
it.
had too much nudity maybe for some of the cable channels.
Because the whole thing revolves around strippers, and there's really a lot of nudity in this. Like I said, like Melanie Griffith is naked in it. Ray Don Chong is naked in it. All the other strippers.
Lesbian scenes too.
Yeah, and there's actually a scene, if that's your very specific fantasy of Melanie Griffith and Ray Don Chong making out, then this is the movie for you because they have a thing going, and they're both strippers.
They probably would have played this in '84 on Cinemax. I don't think they'd have played this on HBO. They probably wouldn't have played it on Showtime.
Yeah, they didn't call Cinemax Skinemax.
They'd call it Cinemax. They'd probably play it.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is in '84, the type of nudity that they're showing and the type of women that it is, it would fly. But they wouldn't. The casting would be a lot more stringent today if they were doing fucking strip club movies. Those girls would look fucking fantastic, because to be a stripper today, you have to be in good shape. These girls are not really in good shape.
Well, they're all kind of skinny.
Yeah, they're just skinny, kind of, which that was popular
which I guess they kind of were.
'84. Maybe only one or two of them had implants. Nowadays, you know what I mean.
Yeah, because a couple of them were kind of not flat, but
yeah.
They didn't have as big a titties as you would expect for a stripper.
Yeah, you gotta work it if you're a stripper nowadays, because man, most dudes don't want to go to those clubs. So you're gonna have to see something special.
Yeah, the one girl I was thinking of is she probably just had an A cup, but she had like little butterfly, like pasties over them and something like that. Like I said, they were all like attractive girls, but they were all like pretty skinny.
And they were women of the time.
Yeah.
Of what they thought would look good. It didn't look good though. There's not a meat on them.
Not enough meat.
No, the black guys were right. They said she ain't got no ass. At the time, I was like, no, she's got an ass because that ain't an ass. Now I see what they're talking about.
I mean, technically she has.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have it.
Yeah. She looks on the same in the front as she does on the back. Yeah. They're right though. Looking back on it.
But I kind of feel like
J-Lo changed the game.
Yeah.
Back in 1990. Yeah.
But I kind of feel like this movie. I mean, Abel Ferrara was kind of known for doing scuzzy New York City movies. You know what I mean? If you've ever seen The Driller Killer, that is like the quintessential scuzzy New York City movie.
This is a pretty good scuzzy New York City.
And it's I kind of feel like there's a couple other filmmakers that do too, like the guy that made Maniac and all that kind of stuff that just before New York City got kind of like gentrified and cleaned up and everything, like when it was like a shithole, and and had just. And this was when 42nd Street was still there, and it was just all these sleazy strip clubs and run by the mob and shit.
Sticks is asking me, Tom, what were boobs like in the
70s and 80s?
70s and 80s. Look, they're fully documented. Go into the Wayback Machine of the internet. You can go look for yourself at all the men's magazines, or just the old videos and shit. They were natural. There was a lot more natural women. Fewer implants.
Yeah, I didn't really see none of the strippers in this seemed to have any implants. Some of them had nicer boobs than others. And like I said, Melanie Griffith, for the time, I mean, she had like a good body for the time, but she was, she wasn't thick or anything like that, and her boobs were just like average size.
Yeah, and her legs were just, she had nice legs, but she could tell she's not lifting.
They put a tattoo on her butt. But I couldn't tell what it was. Was it just like a heart, or I couldn't tell what it was.
By 87, okay. I was there. I was growing up in this shit. And fucking by 87, and VHS was now around, so you could get your hands on VHS. 87, that was the era of just the huge implants. Huge implants, like, triple H and everything, like Tiffany Towers, Pandora Peaks and all those girls. They were like novelty women. The real extreme ones, beach ball size boobs. But if you go back and go look at late 80s, the big name porn stars, they all had implants pretty much. And, they were pretty big. And they were skinny, though. They were still kind of skinny. They started to get a little more muscular in the very late 80s. Excuse me. Yeah, very late 80s. Between the late 80s and by the time the mid 90s had rolled around, about 94, yeah, you had some ones that you could tell they were working out. And, I could tell that what's-her-name was doing steroids. Ryan Connor. You could hear it in her voice. And she looked like she was. She looked good. Early Ryan Connor.
Phantom says, the big fat stripper scene is kind of funny. Yeah, I remember that scene.
We were laughing.
So there's a point in the movie. Okay, so this serial killer is targeting strippers. We'll get into that in a minute, because I kind of feel like he didn't really have I'm not really sure like exactly what his motivation was, but we'll get into it in a minute. So because this serial killer was targeting strippers, like a lot of strippers wouldn't show up like to work because the whole thing, like where Tom Berenger and his friend worked was kind of like a talent agency, but for like exotic dancers. So they would drive the girls to the different clubs where they were supposed to go and like hire them out like a temp agency kind of, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. So because of the serial killer, like a lot of them would be like, fuck it, I'm just staying locked in my house until they catch this motherfucker, which, you know, you can't really blame them. So they were kind of like scraping the bottom of the barrel, it's implied. So there's this one scene where they send over this stripper to the club, and it's this kind of, she wasn't fat, but she was like kind of hefty. This kind of hefty girl, like in chaps, and she was like on one of those horses that's just like a head, like a horse head on a stick.
Yeah.
And was kind of like just swaying back and forth. And like the old guy that owns the club is like on the phone yelling at the thing and said something like she couldn't give a hard on to a rapist or something like that. I was like, whoa, all right.
Yeah. We were kind of laughing at the girl. I was like, she's not that bad. By today's standards, she's not that bad. So
I mean, the way that he was talking about her is like she was the biggest uggo to ever exist. I'm like, she's not that bad. Jesus Christ.
In today's porn industry, she would have been a small BBW. Or more kind of like a MILF. Not a MILF. What am I thinking of? What's the fucking word? You know, like a big booty white girl.
Yeah.
You know, I forgot the term that they'll use for that. And they had makeup on her to make her look worse than what she really was.
Yeah, and like kind of fucked her hair up.
And she's doing the dumbest dance.
That was another thing. I was like, maybe you don't have country music and maybe like, you know, polish up your dance moves.
Yeah, and they were the manager was bagging on her, you know, behind her back, you know, he's up in the control room where you know where the lights are and everything. He's going on about how fat she was. Wasn't that fat by today's standards. She just would have been considered pretty thick. And I think she'd probably, if she had the photo layout was correct and the photography and the costumes and shit were correct, some dudes might find that more attractive than some of the other girls that they were presenting as attractive.
What I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
because they were too skinny by today's standards.
Variety, kind of like some variety, you know. But it's like, yeah, the Phantom says, the one dude said he saw better tits on monkeys at the zoo. Yeah. No, he didn't say tits. He actually said, I've seen better pussy on gorillas at the zoo, or monkeys at the zoo, or something like that. Yeah, I've seen better pussies. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And I was just like, wow, everyone is just super shitty at this movie. Well, like I said, it's an Abel Ferrara movie, so what do you expect?
Sticks now asked me what was the difference between 80s and 90s ass. Okay. 80s ass, you could tell those girls didn't work out. They weren't doing squats. They weren't working their legs or anything. So it was just kind of flat. You know what I mean? There wasn't much pop on the back. By the time the 90s had rolled around, you go back and look at 1990s Nina Hartley when she was working on the Buttman series. Nina Hartley was she was jacked, all right? And she had a perfect, big, muscular butt, huge muscular thighs, a lot of insertions, and good, you know, you could tell she was pretty much rock hard. She didn't have implants, but she didn't need them. She had naturally pretty good bust. But go look at 90s, like 95 to 96, Nina Hartley when she was like in her mid-30s. Just, you know, that was the new standard. She looked like a fitness model. Or what, you know, she looked like a fitness model.
Yeah, Phantom says they should have given a reason as to why the Kung Fu Master was targeting the strippers. That's kind of what I wanted to get into because here's the thing. This guy, I don't think they ever even get his name or anything. He's just like, and he doesn't wear a mask or nothing like that. He just walks around with his fucking face hanging out. Yeah. And
Phantom got a Pog. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Fat ass white girl. Yeah. With a P. Pog. Sorry.
But yeah, I lost my train of thought.
No, you were talking about why the ninja was attacking the strippers in the first place.
He just looks like generic 80s white dude, right? So they kind of show him in his loft apartment. I guess it's just like one of those big like factory style like studio apartments or whatever, and he's doing his kung fu moves, and he also has a diary that he writes in where he's kind of writing a story about himself, but fictionalized, it seems like. And then he has like these big anatomy posters on the wall. And the thing about it is that he doesn't start out as a serial killer, technically. He starts out as like a serial stabber, I guess. Because the first woman that he attacks, like he just grabs her he walks down. She's walking down the street. She's a stripper too, but she's walking down the street like after her shift, and he just kind of comes up next to her and drags her in an alley and starts stabbing her, and then he cuts her fingers off, like two of her fingers with scissors or something like that. And but she lives, like she's kind of fucked up, but she's not that injured. And so a couple of the other ones, like they get attacked, but they don't die. Now, the one played by Radon Chong, her character's name is Layla or Lila or something like that. And she gets attacked. She gets, like, slashed in the forehead, and then, like, he stabs her a couple other places. And then she doesn't die at first, but then she dies later. And then Phantom pointed out there's no way she would have died of her injuries. I'm like, yeah, probably not. But the thing about it was that one of the doctors says, oh, it seems like this guy is deliberately, like, knows something about anatomy because he's deliberately targeting them, like stabbing them in places that won't kill them immediately, but then as time goes on, like he just stabs them and kills them. So I'm not really sure what his end game was. Like, I'm guessing he just hated strippers because they were whores or whatever. But yeah,
he never really gets into that, though.
But they don't really get into that. Like, even after, well, they don't catch him. Like, Tom Berenger beats him to death. But in an alley.
Yeah, in like a showdown.
There's like a big showdown. It's like kung fu versus boxing.
It's kung fu versus boxing. Which, that's a good concept.
Yeah, I kind of liked that, actually.
Yeah.
And Melanie Griffith also, her and Tom Berenger's character used to be in a relationship because Melanie Griffith's character, what's her name? Lolita?
I forgot.
Or something like that. I think it's Lolita.
Yeah.
And, no, Loretta, sorry. Lolita. What the fuck am I thinking? I was thinking of something
Wrong
else.
movie.
Yeah, wrong movie. Wrong book. Yeah. So yeah, her name's Loretta. Close enough. And they used to be in a relationship, but then I guess they kind of broke up, and so she's seeing Layla now, Radon Chong's character, and she gets so distraught after Layla dies that she goes back on the horse, because she used to be a heroin addict, right? And then she got cleaned up, but then after that happened, she just can't even anymore. Yeah. So she goes back to her dealer and gets back on the junk, and so she also doesn't show up for her shift, and that's kind of another thing. So all of these strippers getting killed, and then her having all these problems, and she's like the main attraction, so she doesn't show up. And then like, so now then they get like all the fat strippers, and then like there's all this rivalry between the two. But then it turns out too that at first all of the strippers that are attacked are from this one agency. And then there's a rival agency, the Goldstein agency, and they think that that dude is behind it. So, like, are you killing all our strippers? What the fuck? Like, just to eliminate competition. But then Goldstein's like, no, bro, it's not me, and stuff like that. And then one of his strippers gets killed, too. And so then, like, they work together to figure out what's going on. And then, meanwhile, Billy D. Williams is a vice cop, and he's so funny. He's so fucking smug.
Yeah.
Just the way he walks in, dick swinging, into the club, and he's just like, "You make me
he's
sick."
Pushing everybody around. He's a vice cop. So
he's just like complete, just disgusted by this whole situation.
Yeah,
and he's just not having it. And he isn't like any of these people.
Well, he sees them as preying on all these women.
Yeah,
you know. Nowadays, it would be giving a woman a job. She's trying to feed her babies. That's
which it probably was.
That's a lot closer to the truth.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you got to make money somehow. You know. So
she was saying Loretta was the main attraction. My ex sister-in-law was the main attraction down in Biloxi. She was a stripper, and a nice girl. It was just about she had a baby. She was young, real pretty, had a baby, and had to pay. You know, fucking needed money to take care of that baby.
Yeah,
that's the number one reason. Kids.
Yeah, kids are expensive.
Kids and divorce. Yeah.
Let's see. CB said I went to a strip club a few months ago, and it was off-putting because all the strippers were drug addicts.
Where was this?
I don't know. This is in the UK somewhere, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Phantom said the training montage at the end of the final fight was epic. Yeah, they do kind of. It's kind of truncated. I feel like it was kind of short, where it's just basically like the kung fu master, like doing his katas in the fuck or whatever the fuck in his apartment. And then, Tom Berenger decided he's going to... Because, like I said, he was reluctant to kill anybody because he killed somebody in the ring. And I guess... Because he kept having flashbacks to it because he had, like, PTSD about it. And I guess he just kept, like, pummeling the fuck out of this dude. And then he ended up killing... Like, the guy didn't die right away, but he, like, went into a coma and then he died later. But he was like blaming the referee for not calling the fight. 'Cause he's like, why don't they call it? Why don't they call it? But then, you know, his trainer was telling him just like, kill him, kill him. I'm like, you didn't have to literally kill him. I mean, you know, I don't know. So he had a thing about that. So he didn't really want to kill anybody. But he kind of got over that at the end after talking to this mobster that he knew, that he had seen, like when he was a little kid. He has another flashback. When he was a little kid, he was shining the shoes of these two gangsters, and this old guy came by in a car and shot the fuck out of him. And then he peeks out like, what the fuck? And the guy's like, psh, and the kid's like, okay, I'm not gonna tell anybody. Yeah. So he didn't tell on him. So I guess like that gangster, now they have like a simpatico because he didn't narc on him, you know?
Yeah.
So he goes to him for help, and basically that dude is like, well, somebody got to do something about this motherfucker because the cops can't find his ass, and you need to nut up and like not be scared of killing people now, and just go beat the fuck out of him, you know?
Yeah, another thing that the movie offers besides all that nudity is kind of like copious amounts of epic gangster shit talking.
Yeah.
Fucking shit talking. All right, now it's for '84. It's good. It's very stereotypical.
It is, yeah.
And it's kind of retro. You know what I mean? But I think movies like this, made the gangster art form of making these movies become perfection. Because really, I think it really got good. Gangster shit talking movies were really kind of, if you ask me, got good when Goodfellas came out.
Yeah.
Not all, shit happens in Goodfellas, but a lot of it is just fucking talking shit.
Yeah. And
telling stories. Fucking yeah. I just but you could see that movies like this influenced later gangster movies.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, Phantom said this film is almost like The Sopranos, which is cool. Yeah, I kind of feel like, and it's so funny too, the way like Billy D. Williams' character is just like so many Italian slurs.
Yeah. Everybody's racist against everybody. I know. Which that's cool too.
I guess
very retro.
That's pretty accurate for the time.
Yeah, these were mid-'80s criminals.
Yeah.
And cops who were not a big difference between a cop and a criminal. Really, they were bad too.
And yeah, and the thing about it, I kind of liked, and I guess like I said, a lot of Abel Ferrara's movies are like this, where just like kind of sleazy and morally gray. Mm-hmm. I mean, Tom Berenger was a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, deep down. He killed a guy that time, but it's like it wasn't
an accident.
It was kind of an accident. He didn't really mean to, and and he did have the moral fortitude to like not kill people. But then like after a while, he's like, look, this dude, I can't, let him run around like this because he's like killing women like for no fucking reason.
Yeah,
just like slashing them all up.
That was the only thing I couldn't suspend my disbelief. It's when the first girl got fucking badly maimed. Dude cut her fingers off and just fucked her up. She was still alive. And then one gangster says, we're going to find that motherfucker. We're going to kill him. He pulls out a gun and everything. And Tom Berenger's character is looking, hey, you stop that. We're not killing nobody, this and that. And he's going, I'll never do that again. And they're showing flashbacks of his shit. And no, man, that's not how you would actually react. Because, he liked these girls. He would, and they were getting cut her fingers off. She's begging, and everything. And crying, telling about the story. No, you'd want revenge. You're like, we're going to kill that fucker.
I think most normal people,
we're gonna kill that fucker.
If you saw like someone that you liked, and that happened to them, I think you'd be like, yeah, we're gonna go kill this person.
Yeah, we're gonna find him. You just can't let him walk around.
We're gonna cut pieces off of him,
right,
and then we're gonna kill him.
Yeah. So when he did that, I was like, what kind of gangster movie is this? But the thing is that they're Italian, and evidently they have mafia ties. I don't really think they come out and say it, per se.
Yeah, they were just kind of mafia adjacent.
They were club gangsters.
Yeah. They had mafia connections.
Yeah, they had strip clubs. The way they made money is strip clubs, and guys paying money to come in, drink money, and getting the girls to sell hand jobs. They basically said that. Yeah. Hand jobs.
That's what it was. Girls would be on. I was just thinking of like Billy D. Williams the first time he walked into the strip club telling that girl to get her pussy off the bar.
Yeah. Okay, all the pussies off the bar. He said he was sitting on a fucking bar, just fucking super sexist and shit.
Well,
leaving the damn steam prints.
I was gonna say, I was like,
prints everywhere.
He didn't have to be a jerk about it, but I'm like, to be fair, it is very unsanitary.
Those dudes in there don't care.
I know they don't.
They dive in that pussy in a heartbeat.
I'm just saying.
They'd be
I just thought that was so funny.
Those simps would be sitting there. Let me tell you something. Those simps would be in there. You know what I mean? Fucking, she'd be sitting
just
on that,
licking it.
Yeah, and she'd get up, and those dudes are gonna be fighting over there. Just trying to lick that spot where she was. You know, that's the kind of dudes. They think that was real hot.
Oh Jesus, yeah, that's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, see, well, I mean, you know, Billy D just had to be a buzzkill.
Yeah.
Had to come in and nobody could have fun with him around.
Most of the dudes in there are fucking regulars, man. They got crushes on them girls.
Yeah. She digs me, man.
Yeah, she loves me. Yeah,
she loves that you give her
the money out of your
wallet.
She loves pumping the money out of your wallet.
Yeah, that's exactly what she loves. But yeah, so I mean, I had not seen. It's still not my favorite Abel Ferrara movie, but yeah, this was actually. I don't want to say it was a lot of fun. It wasn't fun. It was kind of a fucked up, sleazy, skeevy kind of movie, like he usually makes. But yeah, this was like I really liked this one. I really like this one. Although I will say that I kind of feel I'm not really sure because I was only 12 in 1984, so I would probably have been too young to see this. But I wonder how the killer played in 1984 as opposed to how he plays now. Because now he just seems funny, you know? I mean, because he goes and attacks women. He's got, like, this razor knife thing. And he goes and attacks, and he does, like... And then he slashes them like that, and then backs up. And then... Yeah. And I'm just like, stop. I'm just like, stop. So I don't really know. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. I couldn't take somebody seriously that was doing that, even if they were slashing me. So, yeah, but I kind of feel like it was meant to be taken seriously in the movie.
Yeah,
because
it's just a movie of its time.
Yeah, because it was like Kung Fu was like a big thing, and everybody was like, "Ooh, cool," you know what I mean?
It was mysterious, man.
But I did kind of like at the end where Tom Berenger just like beats the absolute fucking pap 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 just right in his fucking face and just like caves his face in.
In '84, you thought maybe a dude could jump as high as that they showed in fucking Kung Fu. Maybe a dude could throw a chi ball. Maybe there was the fucking dim mak. The death touch and shit. No, they're not. It's all bullshit. Bullshito.
I keep wanting to walk into because next to one of the Chinese restaurants we go to, there's like a martial arts studio, and I keep wanting to go in there and ask them if they'll teach me dim mak.
It's just for little kids.
I'm not going to.
Yeah. Did you have the dim mak?
You teaching these kids dim mak in here?
Yeah.
The death touch.
I want to learn it from the most dangerous man alive.
I know, right?
Yeah, fucking Count Dante.
It's like, ooh, I'm going to do dim mak. I'm going to kill you. It might take like 80 years, but you'll die eventually.
Just like in fucking the Men Staring at Goats fucking movie. What was
yeah.
it called? Yeah.
Yeah, the Men Staring at Goats.
He got cancer because dim mak got him.
Yeah.
For 10, 15 years
before.
Oh
my God, that made me laugh so hard.
That's a great movie, man.
It was so good.
That's a great movie.
And it's just like that made me bust up because like we did that whole show about that and I was like, oh my God, I know exactly what they're talking about. And that's why it was so funny to me. But yeah, I mean, anything is possible if they don't die for decades. Yeah. You know, you can see. Oh yeah, I totally
very
did that.
Slow poison hand. Okay, let's go to the next one.
I could make all kind of claims. All right, so
I give it a thumbs up. It's a good movie.
Yeah, like I said, if you're into like '80s New York sleaze, you need to see this. And boobies, copious boobies. Yeah. It's not as gory. There's some blood, like and shit like that, but it's not like super over the top graphic. You know what I mean? It's not graphic. Like the Driller Killer was. Even though the Driller Killer wasn't that.
They used kind of creative editing to get around the need for.
Yeah, I kind of feel they did a good job with that though. Like I said, it's not super graphic or gory or anything like that for a serial killer movie, and you know the killer is a little bit ridiculous by today's standards. Even though it's clear he was, and I kind of wish they had explained his motivation more. Because he was just like, oh, I'm into martial arts and I like to go slash strippers and maybe not kill them at first. I was like, okay, but whatever, you do you, bro. But yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. It came out in 1984. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it, like I said, if you really like scuzzy New York City movies from the 1980s. So what happened after that? Like I said, we watched Fear City, and then... You know, it was still early, so we decided to watch another movie. We couldn't find Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Singh.
Yeah, I wanted to see it, yeah.
So we were looking on Tubi, and it recommended this, and Tom's like, ooh, I want to see that. And I don't think I'd ever seen this.
Yeah.
This came out in 1983.
Yeah. I remember this one, seen it on cable when I was probably about 15, 16. And like I had said earlier in the show, I liked it. I thought it had potential, but I just thought that it looked like shit. You know what I mean? It just looked real cheap. And certain parts of the story really weren't to my taste. You know, for a 15-year-old boy, I wanted a lot more violence and stuff and more action. And you don't really, at the time, you know, I was too young to kind of appreciate the nuances that happen in sci-fi and shit. So I see this, and it starts off. The main theme is just mediocre. It doesn't really actually seem to fit the movie. That musical theme, Spacehunter, it sounds too upbeat.
Yeah.
I think, and Jen says he thinks that maybe they actually lifted that from another project they were working on.
I'm not sure. Like, Elmer Bernstein did it, and he's, like, super, super famous. Like, he's in all kind of scores. The only thing that I could find of him talking about this movie, he said he was kind of rushed.
Okay.
And he's like, when I kind of watched it, he's like, so I kind of made it more like an epic, like a Western.
Yeah.
So, but it does sound like a lot of his other work. Yeah. So I'm wondering if, because I've heard some of his other scores before, and I was just wondering if, because it was so rushed, he was just like, you know what, I'm just going to like recycle like some shit from my other thing and like just kind of mix and match. I don't know if that's what he did, but I mean, that's just kind of his style, I guess, that sounds like that, but that's what it kind of sounded like to me.
It starts off kind of generic, kind of like, you know, any other, like fucking Star Crash or fucking, you know, thinking, what was the other one? Galaxy of Terror. You know, it kind of has that.
Galaxy of Terror was way better than Star Crash.
Yeah, much better. Galaxy of Terror was pretty good, actually.
It was actually quite good.
But the thing is, I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at it in HT, and the sets look really good inside this damn spaceship. It's about this dude named Wolf, and he's an ex-military guy, and he's now a salvage guy, and he's got this spaceship, kind of like. You know, he's kind of like a cross between Han Solo and Mad Max.
Yeah, he's like a mercenary-ish type of character. I definitely got a Han Solo vibe, and when I read about the movie, they said they did kind of want him to have that.
Kind of have like that, yeah.
Even though that actor is not really like Harrison Ford, but they kind of wanted that sort of vibe.
So he's having problems with his ship. It's falling apart. He's kicking it and shit. And he needs help, and so he presses a button, and this fucking table comes out, and there's like a little sleeping pod, and he pulls the covers off of it, and he's got this just fine ass woman laying in there.
And you know who it is? It's Michael Caine's wife from The Hand.
Yeah, that's right. And she looks good. She's in this little bitty short, like.
Is he fucking you?
Yeah, he's like in this little bitty short tunic, nightgown, and she comes out of there. And instead of a bimbo, she's super intelligent, and it's just all business. And she can, you know, she knows Wolf real well. Knows you. Oh, you kicked it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know, so he's like, yeah.
He's like,
so
I did this, that in protocol. She's like, you kicked it. Yeah, I kicked it.
And what was really cool about this is that the tone of the movie, they're basically, as it goes on, they treat her as a normal person, and they didn't stoop to the level of making fucking sex bot gags. They didn't fucking.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they did that.
Right, because she wasn't.
For the 80s. This was 83, by the way, this movie.
It's kind of implied that he's in a relationship with the robot. But it didn't really kind of.
Because he bought her kind of a sexy nightgown. It's not super, super sexy.
Spent money on it, yeah.
But.
Yeah, and they got along. They got along. And,
but yeah, they were kind of more like.
Right. But she's mostly just real competent. She's useful through the whole movie.
Well.
For as long as she lives. She does get destroyed.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Well,
she doesn't last all that long.
Once she got like the comms running and everything, turned out that they cut to outer space, and they show a pretty cool miniature of a ship that's kind of like a pleasure cruiser, and they're going through a nebula, and you could hear, they're talking to all the loudspeaker, over the loudspeakers, they're talking to all the passengers, look how beautiful the nebula is, and blah 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 blah. Well, they got attacked by something, didn't they? Or no, it was just attacked.
I think it was just mechanical failure. Yeah, and it just like kind of.
And the escape pods started flying off. And one of the escape pods goes and lands on this damn planet. And the escape pod had these fucking 3 fantastically fucking gorgeous fucking space chicks. All right. And the government immediately puts out a bounty like, hey, if you can rescue them, you're going to get, what was it,
3,000 mega credits.
3,000 mega credits.
If you rescue them.
Yeah. So Wolf hears this over the internet, the space internet. And he's like, oh, that, and she's like, yeah, we need that money. That,
we need to fix this piece of shit.
So he goes to this planet where the pod landed. And they had a pretty good costumes, pretty good escape pod. And it's a desert planet, and all of a sudden the movie becomes like Dune. It's almost like, it looks like Fury Road, or not Dune. It looks like Mad Max, or Fury Road, kind of.
Yeah, it does. It's very, very much inspired by Mad Max once they get to the planet.
So he gets to this crappy planet, and they got people on there called scavs, which are scavengers. And they got all these mutants. And then they got some of these other guys who are kind of like road warriors. They're kind of like a medieval army running around on a train that was powered by a damn wind sails.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a pirate ship.
Looked like a pirate, kind of. But it was just a wind-powered railroad car with people living on it. And it had motorcycles that were attached to the top. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm going, and it had really cool vehicles. There's real vehicles, real motorcycles. Everything you see is real. And I'm like, man, this is not a cheap movie. This is an expensive movie to make. Anyway, he tries to pick up the trail. He meets up with the guys in the train. They're being attacked by guys on fucking rocket-powered hang gliders. They look good.
That did look good, actually. Some of the stunt work in this was really good.
Yeah, a lot of stunts and shit. So they snag the chicks and take her back. Turns out she took them back to the bad guy's lair. His name is Big Boss.
No, his name is Overdog.
Overdog, that's right. Overdog, yeah. Overdog.
Played by
Check it out.
Michael Ironside.
Michael Ironside.
Almost unrecognizable underneath this crazy fucking...
He's a cyborg.
Yeah, he kind of looks... His teeth kind of look like Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah, like
he has that weird silver, and he's all like...
And he's bald.
Yeah, he's bald and he's white.
He's got a big metal plate that unscrews on the back of his head.
And he's got like big claw arms.
Big claws arms, and he's on a crane. So
I guess he's like attached to all the mechanisms.
He can't walk around. They got him on a crane. They just lower him around, and he's got this damn Tashigi's castle, fucking maze that he makes you run through, and the crowd's fucking laughing.
I never watched it toward the end. I'm like, this is like a Japanese game show.
Like a Japanese game show, yeah. But you're getting killed, and it spikes and shit.
Well, you probably get killed on some of those Japanese game shows too.
But when he was picking up on a trail, the robot, I forgot what her name was.
The robot?
Yeah.
Chalmers.
He just called her by her last name, Chalmers. Or maybe that was an acronym, I don't know. Chalmers got badly damaged and was laying there, the side of her face ripped off, a bunch of lights and shit. He had a remote control and turned it, and she melted. She self-destructed. And he was like, oh, well, they don't make those anymore type of deal. That was the best model they ever made. So he's going off, he's trying to find the girls, and he runs into this old homestead. It looks like a damn dome made out of mud with a door in it. He goes in there, and there's dead bodies that have been dead for about 10 years. And while he's in there, somebody tries to steal his vehicle. He's got a pretty cool vehicle. It looks like a crazy-ass Humvee, kind of, you know what I mean? And he says, in the movie, he built it. It was custom. And it had a fucking glass turret on it with a fucking cannon. It's pretty neat.
Called the Scrambler.
Scrambler, yeah. And it was bigger than a Humvee. Kind of like a cross between a Humvee and an SUV.
Yeah.
Like a, what do they call it? A crossover?
Yeah.
Crossover sports utility vehicle or something. That's what it looked like, with the weapons on it. Well, somebody's stealing his vehicle, and he goes out, and fucking whoever's stealing it can't really drive it too much, and fucking he runs in there.
She keeps backing up.
It's this little redhead fucking filthy urchin. It's Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
And I did the math. She's somewhere between 15 and 16.
This was pre-John Hughes movies. Because I believe Pretty in Pink... Breakfast Club came out a year after this.
Yeah.
Right? And then Pretty in Pink was the year after that. Yeah, so this was pre the John Hughes movie. So I think she's about 15 in this.
So he finds out that those dead people in that dome were her father and her brothers.
Now, she says she's from Earth. That's not true, is it?
She says she was from Earth. She says she was an Earther, but they're all scavengers. They're all scavs.
Yeah.
They're scavs from
I think
Earth.
she was lying. Maybe.
She might have been lying, pretending that she was from Earth.
Yeah.
Maybe her ancestors were from Earth, so that's what she was saying.
Yeah.
She's a hilarious character. She's funny. Complains a lot. Doesn't understand half the shit that she's told because she has a very limited vocabulary.
Yeah, she's like, uses all these bizarro words.
Yeah, she goes, "You're just out of your diapers." Because I'm not out of my diapers.
That line made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, it's fucking funny.
But like, yeah, she... It's like, I'm not out of my diaper.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so
oh, okay, so you're still...
The writing so far, I'm watching the movie, and the special effects and the sets are good. The vehicles are good. Better than Mad Max. Better than the old Mad Maxes in terms of vehicle construction. It was like Mad Max in some areas. Like, he had futuristic shit, but the scavs on the planet just had stuff that looked like out of Mad Max. You know, steam powered tractors with a big fucking steam shovel on the front. Or not shovel. What do you call it? A big shovel on the front of it, and armored stuff. So he meets up with this girl, and this girl agrees that she will take him to where the bad guy lives. What was his name again?
Overdog.
Overdog, yeah.
Overdog McNabb.
She could take him to where Overdog is if he feeds her.
Yeah.
So he starts feeding her. And then they get a big fight about taking a bath. He told her she had to sleep over there, and he's getting underneath the covers, and she was like, "Fuck that!" And he woke up, she was underneath the damn survival blanket with him, and her hand was in front of his face, and he's like, "Oh, you stink."
Well, I think they even implied earlier when she climbed into the back of the car.
Yeah, that she stank.
I think he was sitting there going, "Oh man."
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of subtle.
Yeah.
But
he throws her ass in the water.
Yeah,
and that becomes a joke for the rest of the movie, you know, because she gets wet later, and she goes, "Man, this is the second bath this week. What the hell?" You know,
I won't need another one for a whole year.
Yeah, is that what she said?
I think she said something like that.
Yeah. And then, well, while they were getting there, they basically kind of run into this fucking vehicle, and it turns out it's another mercenary. It's a friend of Wolf's, and he's that black dude from it's the black dude from fucking Ghostbusters.
Ernie Hudson, yeah.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson.
He played Winston from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the guy played Winston.
Is in this.
He's in it. He jumps out of his damn vehicle with a special fucking, like, futuristic kind of rifle, and he had a pretty cool, like, space, not really space, like a space suit / uniform, you know. And he was evidently still in the service. Didn't he say he was still in it? Or were you just...
Yeah, because he got promoted.
Okay, yeah, that's right. He was in charge of the area.
Yeah.
They fucking... He was ragging on about, "Man, you're still in the service after this amount of time," you know. They didn't really like each other too much when they were in the service, though.
Yeah, they were like rivals, kind of.
Right. And he's trying to cut a deal with them. He says, "Look, I'll give you a certain amount of the rewards if you come with me. And if you get..." And then it turns out he also wants a ride out of there in the ship. And then
his ship crashed.
Wolf finds out he crashed the ship by accident because it has some kind of problems.
Because bitch can't drive.
Yeah, so he's like, "Well, then we're going to have to be half and half." And he's like, "Okay, you know, with half and half." And later they were talking about what they were going to do with their half, and fucking Molly Ringwald's like, "Well, what am I going to do with my half?" Like there's 3 halves. You know, like you know.
She's kind of a dummy.
He was, "Oh, you don't have a half," you know. Fucking funny. But then they end up fucking... What else did they do? They had some... Oh, they run into the damn Amazon women.
The Amazon women and the sea dragon thing.
They ran
that was a cool scene, actually, because I really liked the set design
Yeah.
of this, like, weird underground swamp or something, and it was just, like, all these weird, like, pipes, kind of.
Yeah.
But, like, they were kind of teal colored. I don't know. It was, like, really weird looking and really interesting.
Yeah, the construction of all the sets was fucking really good. Way above average. And then they also ran into the damn hive of mutants that came out of the damn fucking tubes. Remember the big fat mutants?
Yeah, those were good. Those were good outfits too.
Yeah.
Like the suits, they were like these big. They kind of looked like who am I thinking of? Sort of looked like I wanted to say it looked like Oogie Boogie, but not really. But realistic. No. I remember what it looked like.
Zombies.
Yeah, like remember from I think it was the first season of The Walking Dead where they had that big fat zombie that was like down the well.
Down the well, yeah.
And they pulled it out. They kind of looked like that. But it was like a whole thing of them. So they were like these big fat blobular kind of zombie looking things like running around, and they had to like get away from them. And then there was there was the Amazon women. Oh, and then there was those weird little people mutants that were up on the hilltops and were like, oh, like singing and stuff, and they're like, what the fuck is going on with them? And then they start throwing grenades at them, and I'm like, oh shit.
So before they actually find Top Dog's fucking palace, it's not really a palace, it's a pile of junk, you know, from what I remember. Did you get into it by cave? I forgot how you got into it.
I don't even remember. It was like
and there's gates and they'd let you in. What he's been doing is that he's a cyborg. And he has this doctor, this German doctor.
The chemist.
The chemist, yeah. And the chemist is keeping him alive. and extending his life. But he's doing this by draining the life force out of people. All right.
Typical.
So they brought him the three new hotties. You know what I mean? He's like, bring him here, and he's looking at him.
Take that one's clothes off.
Take his clothes off. You don't actually see anything though. They don't show it.
No, they don't take anyone's clothes off.
And
don't get excited.
he's like, okay. So they did show a scene where he's draining them of their life force, but evidently didn't kill them. Didn't even seem to affect them.
I guess they just, like we said, I guess he kind of does it slowly over time, like taking a little bit at a time.
So he's kind of like a vampire.
Yeah,
and he told later on when they finally get there, he told Molly Ringwald's character, I forgot what her name was. It was
Nikki.
Nikki, that's right.
Nikki the Twist.
Nikki the Twist.
Twist or Twister, something like
Nikki
that.
the Twist, I think. He tells her he's gonna drink her life force too, because she made it through the maze. She made it. They had a good scene where Nikki has to go through her trials and she makes it. You know, she had to run through this basically like Tashigi's castle, run across things and climb up stuff and jump across. There's fire and spikes and
blades and
vehicles. You know,
the Decimator.
Yeah, and you're in a maze basically, and there's vehicles chasing you with fucking whirling blades and shit. And she does make it through. And top dog. Overdog, yeah. He comes down on his little fucking crane in front of her and grabs her and he said, "You said you'd let me go." He goes, "I lied."
Yeah, I was like, why did you think that he was going to tell the truth?
Yeah, he was still good. He goes, "After I saw that performance, I'm going to drink more of your... Yeah. I'm going to drink your life force.
Drink you like a Capri Sun, baby."
Yeah. But make a long story short, Wolf and the other guy... Well, not Winston, but you know it's Winston. What was the name?
His name was Washington.
Washington, that's right. Washington was
Wash. They called him.
Wash, yeah. Wolf and Washington fuck up a bunch of fucking the cyborgs, man. They release a lot of the slaves that he had too, and then they get there. They free the three women. And they end up killing the head cyborg and making it out of there. How it kind of ends up is funny because they're all going to leave in the same ship. He was going to leave Nikki behind.
Well, I don't think he was intending to, but she just kind of stalked off on her own.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Hey, where are you going?"
Yeah.
She's like,
"Well, you're done with me now."
Yeah, like, "Oh, well, I helped you, and I guess you're done with me now. You've got the three hot adult women."
Yeah. So she said, "You got those three hotties over there."
I mean, she didn't say that, but I kind of feel like that's what she
kind of said
implying.
that. She kind of said that, but in the tone.
She wanted him to ask her.
Yeah, to go
with them.
Yeah, so he asked her to go, and she took that as almost like an engagement, like they were engaged to be married or something. You know.
We were discussing this because I said, now there is nothing untoward in Wolf's, because Wolf, I mean the actor that played Peter Strauss, the actor, he was probably 40.
Yeah,
I want to say maybe a little bit younger.
Nah, 40.
In this, yeah, or something like that. But throughout and she's 15, like I said,
or 16.
Yeah, 15 or 16,
depending on what month she was born in.
So over the course of the movie, there is no whiff of a hint of anything unsavory or untoward. He basically treats her like
garbage.
Well, he treats her like a bratty teenager, which is what she is.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, "Jesus Christ, why the fuck do I have to put up with this?" Yeah. So he treats her like he reacts to her the way a dad would react to like someone, like a teenager acting up.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like, so we were discussing this at the end when he's like, "Yeah, I want you to come with me and we'll team up and everything like that." And I said, now he's seeing like a dad-daughter situation. And I kind of got the impression that she was seeing this is my boyfriend now.
Yeah. That's how I interpreted it.
And I was like, it's not super blatant. I'm not really sure. But like I said, there's nothing creepy about him at all. No. Like he comes across
he didn't want her.
Yeah, he comes across as like dad.
Yeah.
Kind of like a dad toward her.
Yeah.
And he saves her at the end and everything, but I didn't get like a romantic thing. I got it's like, oh, that's like my kid, you know what I mean? Like I gotta get her out of danger.
He didn't feel that way about her until maybe like halfway through. He started to kind of be a little bit nicer to her.
I mean, she was annoying as fuck at first, to be honest.
He's a character real close to Mad Max.
Yeah.
He didn't really have feelings for other people. He's a total loner.
Yeah.
And he didn't want her around. He just thought that
he thought she was a pain in the ass.
And if she gets killed, then it would feel bad. He'd feel bad, you know what I mean? So he didn't want her to die. He just didn't want her around. He didn't want to associate with her.
Yeah. Because like I said, she was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't shut up.
But, the way the story played out, he started with a very kind of elegant, intelligent, sophisticated, synthetic woman who was his partner.
Yeah.
And ended up with exactly the opposite. A fucking immature, fucking
kind of
rambunctious, kind of dumb.
I mean, she was resourceful.
She
wasn't as stupid as she just kind of when she talked, she sounded stupid.
She was feral. She was basically feral. She kind of raised herself.
Yeah, that's true.
So the way the story played out to me is that he lost one partner and gained a real partner, I think is what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
Now you say, well, shit, man, she's fucking 16. Legal age in the U.S. in most states still is around 16. In 84, that would have been considered uncomfortable and kind of unusual, but not totally out of the realm of possibility. There were guys that age that were going out with girls 16, 17.
Yeah, but like I said, I didn't really get a whiff of that in this movie from his end.
I don't think he was too interested in that.
Like I said, he seemed to. Yeah. He acted as though she was his daughter.
Yeah, I don't think he was interested in that, but I think she was.
Yeah, she seemed like maybe she'd be into it. Tammy said like a typical teenage girl. Yeah.
Probably what
an older man.
if it was a real story, if it was a real life occurrence, probably what would have happened is a couple years later she'd be fucking 20.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? That is a totally different fucking situation.
Yeah, but like I said, in the thing of the movie, because I said I really never got any.
When you're in your 40s, man, 3 years goes by like fucking like that. You know
I never got any creepy vibe off him.
No.
Like I said, he always was just like, oh, this is this bratty kid that's following me.
Yeah, they kind of made sure they kind of made sure there was some there was some kind of sexual humor. She tried to crawl into bed with him underneath that. He said, "What are you doing?" Basically, he goes, "Oh, you don't like girls? Okay, that kind of shit."
Yeah, she was
you like women. That's what he said. You don't like women.
No.
Because she saw herself as a grown woman, she's trying to play it. And he's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. She stank and shit. Yeah. So I thought it was well written. They're fucking with you. They're playing games.
Yeah.
She's misinterpreting a lot of stuff that he's.
Yeah,
saying.
like I said,
she doesn't understand everything.
She's very resourceful, and obviously she's lived by herself on this desolate planet for a decade or something like that, and has had to fend for herself, so she obviously knows her shit, but she's also really naive and kind of dumb in some ways.
But what they did is she offered her services as a tracker.
Yeah, because she knew her way around.
Yeah, she did do that. She and then when she got caught, they put her through the death maze and she survived it. So they were just trying to let the observer or the audience know that she wasn't dead weight. She could bring stuff to the table.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like that. I like that they kind of did that where they both had kind of an arc. Yeah. I guess, which is way.
Now, when I saw the movie as a kid, where I remembered liking it, but thinking that it was kind of cheap and that it really wasn't a movie that I kind of wanted. I like shit kind of like my Flash Gordon and Star Wars type. But Flash Gordon, I really like that one even better. But seeing it again in HD, because I never saw it in the theater. Had I seen it in the theater, it probably would have made a different impression on me. If you see it in HD through the eyes of an adult now, it's a lot better than I remembered it. A lot better than it's a good movie.
It looked really good. And honestly, I was wondering, I was like, where the fuck did they shoot this? Because it's like the desert. It was like beautiful. Yeah. Utah.
Okay.
That's Utah.
Yeah, it's a forgotten gem. I think it's better than Galaxy of Terror, even though that's a different kind of movie. I kind of like it better. It's a little bit more like a Mad Max movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I've seen it called like Mad Max meets Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which it's like, or Mad Max in space.
Yeah.
It is kind of like that. It could have been Earth. It doesn't really have to be outer space, but it does have like a little bit of a space kind of shit going on it. But
the tone was adventure, action, humor. Kind of felt like Cherry 2000.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminded me of. It kind of reminded me more of Cherry 2000.
Yeah.
Meets Mad Max with a little bit of Star Wars.
Yeah, I like Cherry 2000, but I think this is better than Cherry 2000.
I like this better than Cherry 2000. Yeah. I like Cherry 2000 a lot.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
But I think I liked this one. This one was a little more action packed. There was a lot more going on in it.
A lot more visual shit.
There was
vehicles.
yeah, like they would go just from terrible situation to terrible situation, and like I said, there was just like there was the big fat zombie mutants. There was like the Amazon women, the sea dragon. There's like there was like a lot of cool shit to look at. And, you know, there really was no downtime. It was just like this whole adventure.
Acting and direction seemed good, man. Fucking writing was good. It was all on point with the tone that they were trying to get. Some of the storytelling, the way they were trying to do it, is they were trying to take you on an adventure, kind of like almost, I think, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It was part of it. So there's some of that laid in there. But overall, I'd watch it again. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'd own this movie.
It was a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, CB said he could have taken advantage of her, but he was a gentleman. Yeah, and it wasn't even like he was just like, oh, can't do that. It's like he seemed to have like absolutely no interest. Like I said, he just thought she was a pest.
I'm sure she's obviously cute as a bug.
Sure.
She's got fucking red hair. You don't know how the hell did she get that haircut if she's she had a cool fucking red haircut. She was wearing little cool kind of clothes, and then she had like this cloak over it that was all fucking looked like almost like ghillie suit. So she's obviously cute, even though she's filthy when he finds her.
Yeah, she's like super gross.
So, you know.
I bet she hasn't brushed her teeth in like 10
years. Yeah. So he liked her. It's just that she was too fucking young. Yeah. Young and immature.
Yeah, like I said, he mostly just seemed annoyed by her at first. Like he wasn't even going to take her.
She was kind of looking up to him, trying to impress him.
Yeah.
And I think she liked him. But, you know, she wanted him to leave.
Yeah, so she kept coming up with she kept coming up with stuff. It's like, hey, I can do this. Hey, I know where this is. Hey, I know where it's, you know what I mean? So she just like wanted to.
And she was complaining when she didn't get full benefits, like, oh, I can't sleep underneath the covers, or so this is the food you get. I don't eat dogs. Because here, have a hot dog. She says, I don't eat dogs. Because it's not really a dog. It's just we call it that. Why do they call it that? I don't. I'm an earther. I don't eat dogs. It's just fucking funny. She's looked like a teenage girl trying to. Hold her own.
Yeah, she was trying to like show off, which I kind of liked because that's really what they would do. Like,
Yeah, he says, you're out of your mind. You're just barely out of your diapers. She goes, I am not barely out of my diapers. I'm not out of my diapers. She said, I'm not.
And they were all like,
she didn't know what a diaper was.
And she didn't realize what she said. You know what I mean? She was just kind of was just like,
fucking funny. So the dialogue was good, man.
She's still in her diapers,
and I see why Molly Ringwald's career continued. She did a good job at it. Yeah, she's like annoying, and she's supposed to be.
Yeah, she's annoying as shit. Like in the beginning, like I said, she never shuts up.
Really whiny,
and she never shuts up. Yeah. And she, because she grew up on this planet, which the planet's called Terra 11.
Yeah.
So it's like an Earth-like planet,
Earth 11. The 11th Earth.
The 11th Earth. Yeah. And that the women crashed on, that they were all so that's the thing. There's like all these rival groups like trying to find these women because everybody heard that shit on the radio. 3,000 mega credits. Oh my god! So everybody's kind of racing to get these like rescue these women. Yeah. So that's another thing too. There's all these rival people.
The women that came off the pleasure cruise look like models. They're fucking fancy futuristic hair and fucking gold space suits and shit. It's cool. It's cool. And they're all fucking 20. When you say they're about 20.
Something like that.
It's two white ones and a black one. They're all fucking like models. What they look
I kind of laughed when they first landed.
High-value females.
And they got out of the escape pod on this planet. They're like, where the fuck are we? And you know what I mean? It's like, they had a beacon that was supposed to like have a rescue come or whatever. But as soon as they got out and they like shot him against the thing, I was like, 80s haircuts of the future. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they all had very, very.
What was interesting about the escape pod design is that it was kind of like shaped a little bit like a. Like a sunflower seed, and it had 3 places where you could sit, and their upper bodies were exposed. They just were in spacesuits with bubbles around the head. So as the
like bubbles like around the head and like right down the shoulders.
Yeah, and they were like sealed into the thing.
Yeah, it was
so when it
cool,
lands, actually. there's a good scene where all the shit starts unfolding off of them, and they just come up out of that escape pod. It looked really cool. They were all in this matching gold.
It almost looked like one of those big, like, old school, like, Bell diving helmet type of things. Like, it was this big...
And they didn't say who the girls were.
Yeah, they know. That was
they should have said who they were.
I was going to mention, it's just like, you're led to assume that they were somebody rich or important or something like that, because they were on this pleasure barge thing.
Yeah, pleasure fucking cruise.
Cruise, like, out in space.
Yeah.
And so that when they crashed on this planet, so everybody was like, this huge reward for them, but they never say, not that I heard anyway... Like, they never say who they are or, are they dignitaries
I had a feeling they were celebrities.
Yeah, or maybe celebrities. But everybody wanted them back really badly.
Yeah.
because they were willing to pay all this money to get them, but nobody really said why they wanted them, because they're barely in it. Like, you just see them at the beginning, and then they get picked up by the dudes with the rocket-powered hang gliders and taken to Michael Ironside's place and put in a cage, and then you don't really see them until, like, the end of the movie when all the heroes, like, get there and try to save them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, so they're almost like a MacGuffin, I guess, sort of, because you don't, you know, you never really learned, like, why everybody wanted them so bad. They're just, like, a thing that drives the plot forward.
Yeah, Phantom, there are aliens in it, but it's alien creatures. Like, there's a thing that's like a dragon. Like an aquatic dragon.
Yeah, it's not big, but it's kind of...
Yeah. You know, it's the size of an anaconda.
Yeah.
Probably.
But it's like dragony looking.
Yeah, it's like a dragon. It's got scales on it. It comes up out of the water.
But most of the aliens, other than like the fat zombie, like, you know, blobular things,
right.
Everything looks mostly human.
Well,
there's like Amazon-y looking women, but they mostly look human.
Yeah, well, remember what Nikki said. She said that, what's his name? Top Dog? Is that his name?
Overdog.
Overdog was using biological fucking experiments and biological weapons and releasing them on people. So it was making mutants.
So that's like what those little people were that were like up at the top of a ridge. You only see them in one scene.
One scene, yeah. Little people, and then the big fat slug people that fucking, the fat zombies.
That come falling out of the pipes and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a cool scene too. They're all like
hive.
plopping out of this fucking thing.
They came out of a big old hive. And here's the thing is that, like I said, the sets and the costumes and the special effects were good. Very good. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap looking film.
It really isn't.
No,
I was surprised. I was expecting, like I said, something on the level of Star Crash.
Yeah,
but this much was better. Kind of much better than that.
And you can see it for free on Tubi. So you don't have to pay to see it. And it is good HD.
Yeah, I mean, if you like kind of 80s post-apocalyptic or sci-fi Mad Maxy kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of lighthearted fun too, and you know.
Yeah, it's just like an adventure. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's got danger, it's got like good special effects and everything like that, but it's not like meant to be like super serious.
There's some character there in a lot of the cheap fucking science fiction movies, there aren't any characters in it really. They're just people in costumes.
Yeah.
You don't really know much about them. You don't give a fuck about them. These characters you know about, they all have backstories. They've given you're figuring out their backstory. So the writing was good. So you kind of have a vested interest in seeing the characters survive type of deal. You know, like even Washington, which he's not in. He's in it a lot, but he's not the main focus. He's always like coming in, and then they work together.
Yeah.
But even you even understand where Washington came from, you know, in the service and why he stayed, and him trying. He fucked up the shit, but it's okay. He's gonna hook up with this dude. We're gonna get the fuck out. We're gonna take the money. We'll divide it. It's a mercenary type action.
Yeah. CB said, "I think it's funny a girl not wanting a bath twice a day. I mean, it is very funny.
No, it was twice a week." She goes, "This is the second bath this week."
Yeah, because she fell into the water where the Amazons
were. She just fell in the water. Yeah, she just fell in the water. Falling in the water.
And she was not happy about it.
Yeah.
She's like a cat when you try to give him a bath.
Yeah.
Man, she must. If she didn't have a bath for like 10 years, we're presuming it was 10 years before he came across her on the planet. Had she ever taken a bath?
I don't think so.
Wow, can you imagine how someone like that would smell? How would they not be like just riddled with disease?
You can survive it, I guess.
I guess after your body would just give up and go, okay, fine, we're going to be filthy.
Yeah, maybe you wash certain things, the face off and your hands off, and medieval people were like that.
It's like they don't even wipe their butt or anything.
Yeah.
Gross.
But I take it that she was probably, she would have been probably 5 when her family died.
Yeah.
Now, she said she was doing other stuff and she had knowledge, so she ran around.
She knew her way around on the planet.
Right, yeah.
Or at least this section of the planet, not the entire planet, I'm presuming. I don't know how big the planet was.
Yeah, and what was funny is that she was kind of... There's some scenes where she's kind of jealous that everybody's trying to get those girls, but nobody gives a fuck about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, she's like, nobody cares, like, nobody's looking for me type of deal.
Tammy said maybe they were Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would explain a lot. Yeah, it was like this year's equivalent of... When is this supposed to be set? I think I looked it up, and I think it's supposed to be 2134 or 20 something like that. I don't remember what year it was supposed to be. But early 22nd century.
Yeah.
I think is what it said.
If you look at first of all, the fucking title, Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. You're like, that kind of sounds corny. And then you look at the cover art, and you're like, that's probably like Battle Beyond the Stars, or that's got to be, you know, it doesn't have an epic look, the cover, and it went under my radar. I mean, I didn't even know when it came out in theater. When it came out, I didn't know, but I just saw it on cable, and I thought it was okay back then. I like it better now. It aged well.
And it's an American/Canadian co-production.
Okay.
Also, and I can't believe we've gone this long without mentioning this movie was actually first shown in 3D.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Which actually Tom
There's
knew at first because at first the title that comes out, it comes out like Superman the movie, like whoosh,
Yeah, and I said it's got to be 3D.
coming at you,
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
And Tom's like, yeah, this is probably like 3D. And then, yeah, like at the beginning, like there's all these stars. But it's not egregious.
No.
There's a couple scenes in there where you're like, oh, yeah, this is 3D. But it's honestly, most of the time, I wouldn't have known. There's just like a couple times
Well, it was probably offered in either format, you know what I mean, into theater.
Well, they were talking about, Ivan Reitman talked about it, and he said, you know, this came out in 83, and there was like a big trend, you know, for 3D movies. And he's like, filming 3D back then was a gigantic pain in the ass.
What?
And, you know, but I guess, I don't know if they showed it normal and showed it 3D like they do nowadays. I thought if it was 3D, you just saw it 3D. Because didn't they need like all this special kind of...
You need glasses?
Because it's two different
you need
versions.
Glasses. You need the glasses. I don't know. I didn't see it.
I mean, you need glasses now too, but I'm just saying now they have a normal version and a 3D version. Yeah,
I didn't see the theatrical release, so I don't know.
But yeah, I liked too that even though this was meant to be 3D, they didn't like do it in your face. Because remember how like at Friday the 13th Part 3, hey, I've got a yo-yo, you know, so you know, and it's like every fucking thing, like a spear and this and that. I'm like, just stop it. Yeah, they did that with Jaws 3D too.
Phantom saying the Battle Beyond the Stars was decent. Had George Departed. I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember seeing Battle Beyond the Stars on cable and being frustrated as fuck with it that it wasn't Star Wars.
Why aren't you Star Wars?
Why is this not Star Wars? Yeah.
You could say that of every movie that's not Star Wars. Yeah. Why aren't you?
I haven't seen it in a long time. Although, just based on memory, I remembered liking Galaxy of Terror a lot better than that.
Galaxy of Terror is a surprisingly good movie. For being Roger Corman. Yeah. I mean, Roger Corman made some good fucking movies. Yeah. You know? All his Poe movies were excellent.
Yeah, and the sets and special effects was all done by
James Cameron.
It was his first movie. And if you look at it, it looks a lot like Aliens. Yeah. In certain parts. Had good costumes. Sid Haig was in it, even though he didn't say much. I live for the crystals. I think it's pretty much all he said. Yeah. And Erin Gray is their name? Erin Gray, I think from
Joni from Happy Days.
Joni from Happy Days was in it.
She was in it.
They had some hot blonde in there that gets sexually assaulted by a gigantic fucking caterpillar. Rips her clothes off and everything. And
I mean, that's someone's fetish.
And she was stacked too. She had a beautiful body. We would sit there and go, "Whoa, here it comes! It's here! You all ready?" You know what I mean? Like three of us sitting there watching.
Honestly, that scene, I'm like, wow, that was like, that's kind of out there.
It was way out there. It's basically bestiality,
especially for that time.
For that time,
I was shocked that they put that in the movie back then. Yeah, because I was like, wow, that's pretty graphic, like for the time.
And for the time, she was very athletic and busty for the time. So I don't think she was natural. She was somebody that worked out, probably doing Anavar or something.
Man, the whole time I was watching that scene, like all I could think of was like the mechanics of that. I was like, oh my god, what would it be like to be like?
Yeah, and had to think of the suction, and
she then sexually assaulted by a giant worm. She's halfway through it.
She starts enjoying it.
It's a weird.
She starts enjoying it.
It's a weird scene
because
I think that's like the scene that movie is most notorious for.
Well, I think it was beyond her control because remember it was like basically a demon force that was going into your mind and altering and taking your worst fears and manipulating you. So that was one of her worst fears, and I guess one of her worst fears is that she would also enjoy it, so she started to.
Yeah, so that's that's kind of how they adjust.
Right. It did just that's how you would adjust to it.
CB says there's a girl at my work whose armpits always smell like an onion.
Yeah, she probably eats a lot of garlic. She's probably Central American eating garlic.
That does have, if you eat a lot of a particular thing, it does come out your pores. Phantom says Humanoids from the Deep. 1980 is a great Roger Corman film. Yeah, I've seen that movie 2 or 3 times. I love that movie. It's actually pretty good. Yeah. It is good.
Another one is pretty good.
I just rewatched it a couple weeks ago, now that you mention it.
Another one is pretty good. That a lot of people forget about is Piranha.
Piranha's great.
Piranha's good.
It's Joe Dante.
Yeah, Piranha's good. And Piranha's got a damn monster in it. It's got a little two-legged piranha running around, and they never answer it. It was some kind. It came out of some laboratory.
Yeah, like at the very end, I'm
And
like,
yeah,
what?
they'll just show it. They're like, man, there's a mutant two-legged piranha on the ground, and I was like,
Oh shit! Now
man.
we're all in trouble.
And they're like, oh fuck, but they never show it again. But I'm like, and I remember going like, man, there should have been a sequel.
There was.
Where there was, but it did have the little two-legged piranha.
I don't know.
Okay.
They also have Piranha 3. What is it? 3 Double D. Which is 3D and was also like had big titties in it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which I kind of feel like we should probably review that at some point. I think they have that on Tubi also.
Yeah. It was gratuitous in the 80s, man, and the 70s, really. But 80s was...
Well, like I said, they're like, we know you guys, the internet hasn't been invented yet.
Yeah.
And you guys are just starving to see some titties.
Yeah, and it was teenage boys.
So here you go.
It was teenage boys. Teenage boys. And they knew you were going to see that shit
here you go
on cable, and that you were going to rent that shit fucking on VHS. You know, they knew.
Yeah. I will note that Spacehunter has zero nudity.
No, yeah.
And no, not really any gore either.
No.
There's like some great costumes and stuff like that. But like I said, it's more like an adventure.
Yeah, it's kind of kid-friendly.
Kind of movie. But like I said, now the first movie we talked about, that is just like wall-to-wall nudity.
Yeah, yeah.
Like pretty much. And I think even the serial killer is naked at one point. Although you just kind of see him from the back and it's kind of shadowed. So you don't you don't see any peen or anything. You just kind of see his butt. Because I was sitting there going... Because they had a scene with Melanie Griffith and Tom Berenger, and they're kind of reconnecting or whatever, and I was like, now it'd be good if Tom Berenger was naked in this to like even out like all the female nudity in this, but that wasn't in his contract evidently. Well, we thought at the beginning of the movie, Melanie Griffith is dancing on the stage, and she had this dress on. It was very 80s. That was like bluish, tealish, aqua colored, and it's like one of those like asymmetrical dresses that had kind of a sweetheart neckline, but then it had like one long sleeve, but then no sleeve over here.
I don't remember.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And she had a dress on like that, and she was dancing on the stage like forever. And I'm like, is this bitch ever gonna take her clothes off?
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? Like, and everybody's going woo, and I'm just like, what are you wooing at? It's like she's fully dressed. Yeah. Calm down.
Yeah.
So, and then we were speculating, and then she kind of unzips, and like you see her, she has a thong on. So she kind of shows her butt like from the back, and I'm like, was it not in her contract to show titties? But then she turned around, I was like, whoa, I guess it was. Yeah. I guess it wasn't her contract to show titties.
Yeah.
She shows a lot of titties in this. But like I said, so a lot of nudity in the first movie, no nudity in the second movie. So make of that information what you will, like whatever.
She had a decent body for an actress.
She did, yeah.
You know, just like a regular woman, you know, she's pretty good. It wouldn't stand up to scrutiny today against the fucking top-notch stripper, though. Like, she was supposed to be the star attraction with shit, man. You should see what those chicks look like now.
Well, yeah, but like I said, it was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
It was a different time. And she was kind of... Well, Melanie Griffith, I guess she was a pretty big star in 84, right? I mean, she'd been in...
She was in Cherry 2000.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like...
That was a good flick.
Was this before... Yeah. What was that movie she was in with Sigourney Weaver? Working Girl? When did that come out? That was maybe late. That was maybe late 80s. I want to say. I kind of feel like Melanie Griffith's big movie was. Now I can't even remember. What was the big? I thought it was Working Girl, but that might have been like later. I can't really remember. So this might have been a little.
Much about
this might be like a little bit before her big break. I don't know.
I don't remember much about her.
Yeah.
Actually. All right, so let's go ahead and shut it down.
All right, so we are going to wrap up this special double feature. Like I said, we didn't mean to do a double feature. We just watched 2 movies, so we figured we'd just talk about both of them before we forgot them. So hopefully you guys can join us for Wednesday night's show. We are finally going to be talking about the fucking Menendez brothers, which I've been wanting to do a show about them for a long time, but it seems like now is a good time because there's like a Netflix movie about them, and then like a new fucking documentary just came out about them and all this other kind of stuff. So we're going to be talking about old Lyle and Eric Menendez on Wednesday night's show. So hopefully you can drop by and see that. Thanks everybody for dropping by this evening. Have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you guys again on Wednesday night.